So good afternoon everyone. Last time we had discussed about the relation between the angular velocity and the linear velocity and its vector form. Today we will try to derive the formula for centripetal force, and we know it very well. For the balanced circular motion, centripetal and centrifugal forces, they are just equal and opposite. We know there are, it is some kind of a balancing force. If we talk about centrifugal force, it is an appear to be a balancing force. How? Let me tell you how it is working. If we talk about a uniform circular motion, a body which is revolving on a circular path, you will say that it is experiencing a centripetal force like tension in the string. The cause of this centripetal force is tension in the string, but still the body is not moving at all in the inside world. So definitely a virtual force is actually balancing this we can say internally acting force or towards the center acting force. So this balancing force, it is a virtual force, it is not a real force at all. It is a virtual force which is actually appears to be balanced by with centripetal force, that is T here. This time it is T. In case of planetary motion, it is gravitational force. So we will simply write it is appears to be balanced by centripetal force. So this virtual force or this pseudo force, it is also known as pseudo force. Means it is not a real force, it is a virtual force simply called centrifugal force. It is called centrifugal force. So centrifugal force is not a real force, and keep this thing in mind, it is not a reaction force either. Centrifugal force is not a real force, it is not a reaction force, it is just a pseudo force which appears to be balanced by centripetal force for a balanced circular motion. Means the particle is not it is not moving at all in the outward direction or in the inward direction. Means the body will appear to be stationary for two persons which are moving on the same circular path. If the body is moving with an acceleration t, so for the person who is moving on the same circular path but with the different radius, the body must appear accelerated. The body must appear accelerated, but it is not appearing accelerated inside world. So definitely it is being balanced by another virtual force which is called centrifugal force. So right now our target is to derive a relation between centrifugal force and centripetal force, or you can say the mathematical interpretation for centripetal force, because mathematically they will be equal always for a balanced circular motion. Keep this thing in mind. For a balanced circular motion, centripetal force is just mathematically equal to centrifugal force. Keep this thing in your mind. We will use this relation for a balanced circular forces example. Now let's try to derive a formula for centripetal force, a mathematical interpretation for centripetal force, or you can say for balanced circular motion it would be the formula for centrifugal force also. So let's try to derive. Now let's assume a particle is revolving on a circular path and it takes an angular displacement from P to Q, with respect to origin. So if we try to represent the tangential velocity of the particle, since it is going for uniform circular motion, keep this thing in mind, it is going for uniform circular motion. So its velocity v1 vector and v2 vector, where v1 vector and v2 vectors magnitude are same actually. Let's say v. These are velocity magnitudes because we are talking about uniform circular motion. Keep this thing in mind. We are talking about uniform circular motion. for uniform circular motion. V1 vector and V2 vector, they are simply V. Now, if I talk about the initial position of the particle, so position vector is represented by OP vector, or we can simply call it R1 vector. In the same way, the position vector of the second particle is supposed to, second position is supposed to be R2 vector. So definitely the particle has been displaced by R1 to R2. So the displacement vector, displacement of the particle, let's call it change in position. Displacement is change in position, so delta R vector, it would be final position minus initial position. While if I talk about the basic interpretation of these R1 and R2, they are just radius, they are just radii, same radius actually. R1 vectors magnitude and R2 vectors magnitude, they are just same. Let's call it simply R, the radius R. So now the particle has been displaced with an angular displacement theta. So in this triangle, if we can see, there is a triangle OPQ, this triangle, and the displacement vector is, for a small angle, displacement vector is PQ vector. Keep this thing in mind, the displacement vector is PQ vector. It can be written as even PQ vector. You need to keep this thing in your mind. In this triangle, it can be represented by PQ vector. Even you can represent it by a straight line. This one, because we are talking about a small angle, so arc length and this length would be same. So PQ vector, or you can write it delta R vector. Now, since the radius always makes an angle 90 degree with the tangential velocity, we know it very well, radius and tangent, they will make 90 degree with respect to each other. So if I try to make a triangle with V1 vector and V2 vector, definitely it will make a similar triangle. The same angle will be there between V2 vector and V1 vector, because they are just at the same angle with R1 and R2. So the R1 R2, if R1 and R2 are at an angle of theta, definitely V1 and V2 will make the same angle as theta. So I would like to call it simply a similar triangle to OPQ. So let's call it OP dash Q dash, and V1 vector, V2 vector with the same angle theta. So the change in velocity, this vector will represent the change in velocity, that is delta V vector. So delta V vector, it would be change in velocity. You can write it even delta V vector is actually V2 vector minus V1 vector, change in velocity. So this change in velocity is only due to the direction change, not the magnitude. We have already written this here, that the velocity's magnitude is not going to change, only the direction is changing, and the cause of this change in direction is the centripetal force. So if I talk about centripetal acceleration, if we write about centripetal acceleration, so the centripetal acceleration AC is this change in velocity with respect to time in magnitude. If we talk about this change in velocity with respect to time, this is centripetal acceleration formula. Keep this thing in mind, acceleration means change in velocity with respect to time, but here there is a change only in the direction, not in the magnitude. So that's why it is called centripetal acceleration, because centripetal acceleration can only cause the change in direction of the velocity. It cannot change the magnitude of the velocity. Keep this thing in your mind. So that's why I am writing it AC, centripetal acceleration. So whenever you are talking about change in direction of the motion, the cause of this change is centripetal acceleration, not the linear acceleration. Linear acceleration will cause the change in magnitude. So this centripetal acceleration is changing the velocity direction with respect to time. Now if we check in these two triangles, in triangle O dash, P dash and Q dash, and the triangle OPQ, these are just two similar triangles with the same angle and two perpendiculars. So what can we do? We can apply the mathematical theorem that the similar side ratio or adjacent side ratio will be the same for these two similar triangles. So in triangles P dash, O dash, Q dash and POQ, in these two triangles we can simply say the ratio of adjacent sides would be same, means delta V upon V. By magnitude I am talking about, only by magnitude. So magnitude of V1 or V2 is V simply. So delta V upon V is same as delta R upon R. You know it, displacement vector is being represented by delta R vector. So by magnitude delta R upon R. Simply we can write like this. Or our target is to find delta V now. So delta V would be delta R upon R into V. Keep this thing in mind. Let's put this value of delta V in equation first, in this equation. So equation first would become, we try to write it here. I can make it little bit adjustment for more lines. So equation first will become, it will become centripetal acceleration AC equals to delta V. Instead of delta V we can write delta R upon T into V upon R. We can write like this, upon T, delta R upon T into V upon R. And we know it very well that change in position or displacement upon time is velocity. We know it very well. We know it very well that V is change in position with respect to time, delta R upon T. So we can write instead of this delta R upon T, V. So what we will get, centripetal acceleration is V into V upon R, or you can write it V square upon R. This is the formula for centripetal acceleration. And in the same sense, you can find out the centripetal force, that is Fc equals to mass into centripetal acceleration. So M into V square upon R. This is the formula for centripetal force, or mathematically for the balanced circular motion, this will be the formula for centrifugal force also. But centrifugal force is not a real force, it is a virtual balancing force. Keep this thing in your mind. The maximum safe velocity of a car by which the car can turn on a curved road, means if more than that speed a car turns on a curved road, it will get skid, or it will get we can say turn out from the track. So the derivation is motion of a car on a curved road. You need to find out the maximum safe velocity of the car. Motion of a car on a curved road. Motion of a car on a curved road, we need to find out. So let's talk about, we are talking about this basic curved road, and this is the expected center of this turn, and we are imagining that the radius of this circular path or road, curved road, is R. Let's assume its radius is small r. And from the front, if you observe a car, it will look like this. If we observe a car from the front, it will look like this. The person, you can see clearly its weight is acting perfectly downward. The person's weight, or the total car plus person's weight, it is acting perfectly downward with weight mg. The reaction of the surface always acts perpendicular to the surface. This is the reaction of the surface. Let's say it is R. The centrifugal force of the car is trying to move it out from the track, and its centrifugal force, if its velocity is v, so centrifugal force would be mv square upon r. So essential centripetal force to keep the car on the track, the essential centripetal force is being obtained by the friction between the road and the tires, which is acting towards the center of the circular path, which is actually small f, or you can represent it like this. So right now, for the safe turn, the same way we will create the equations, balancing equations, as we have done in laws of motion chapter, the previous part. So for the safe turn of the car, you can simply say for the safe turn, the friction force must be greater than or equal to. It is a static friction to keep the car on the track. Static friction means the car is not skidding at all, neither in the outward direction or in the inward direction. So friction, you know it very well, static friction must be greater than or equal to the centrifugal force, that is mv square upon r. We have derived the formula, so we are implementing this formula. And since the car is not in moving in vertical up or down direction, so mathematically r just equal to mg. So we can utilize this. Let's use this equation again. We know it very well that mv square upon small r is less than or equal to, I have inverted this whole expression, less than or equals to fs, and fs is actually mu s r. So you can simply write mv square upon r, mv square upon r less than or equals to mu s into r, and r is actually mg. So you can write mu s into mg. From these two equations we can solve, or m to m will get cancelled, means the car's speed, it is not actually going to depend on its own mass. So you can write v is less than or equal to, please pay attention, v is less than or equal to r into g. So mu s r into g and square root, because there is a square. So this is the range of safe velocity of the car. And if you are talking about maximum velocity, because it is showing that either the velocity of the car is less than with this expression, or maximum it is equal to, less than or equal to. So maximum, so v maximum means the maximum safe velocity of the car for the turn. So v max is actually, when you are talking about max, you can put equal to, so equals to mu s rg. So this is the maximum safe velocity for the car by which it can turn on a curved road without getting skid or without getting a turn out from the track. Keep this thing in your mind. This is the expression which has been obtained with the help of centrifugal force and centripetal force balanced circular motion example. And if we implement the real time data on this, for an example, for a road of having the friction coefficient 0.7 and radius about 10 meter, so you can calculate it would be approximately 30 km per hour. Means by maximum 30 km per hour you can drive the car on that on such curved road, or if you are driving more than this speed, there will be a chance to get out from the track. So keep this thing in mind. Now how can we increase this safe limit of the speed without changing the radius of the track? How can we increase this? This is our next derivation. So our next application is motion of a car on a curved banked road. For this we are talking about. So this time if I try to plot the diagram, if I say this is the horizontal line of the turn center O, so the road has been banked. This is the cross section view. Keep this in mind. It has been banked by an angle towards the center. So this angle is supposed to be theta. Theta is the angle of banking of the road. Keep this thing in mind. Radius is still r. If you are talking about the radius is still r for the road. You can represent it for the road. Radius is still r. Now, if we talk about the car, so car has been inclined towards the center with the same angle due to the banking of the road. For this person, its weight is acting perfectly downwards. Please pay attention on this. Its weight, the person's or car's total weight is acting perfectly downward, mg, but this time the reaction is perpendicular to the surface. As we know it very well, the reaction always acts perpendicular to the surface, but the surface is inclined. So the reaction would be perpendicular to this. So this is r this time. And if I try to break the components of the reaction, so you can clearly see that if this angle is theta, it is also theta. So this angle will also be theta. You can do this in a different diagram. If I try to plot that diagram for you, for this inclined surface, theta, angle of inclination, weight is acting perfectly downward, and we are talking about the reaction of the surface r this way, and this angle is also theta. We have proved it already. And if we try to break the component of r, so there will be two components of r, one, and this angle is also theta. You know why this angle is also theta, so this would be r cos theta and this would be r sin theta. That's why we are talking about. So this one is r cos theta, and this time this one is r sin theta. And if we observe the friction is actually acts along the contact surface of two materials. So along the contact surface, the friction is actually acting angularly, because the car is skidding out in this direction due to the centrifugal force, which is again mv square upon r. So the car is skidding out, so the friction will act angularly in this direction. It is being represented by F, and if this angle is theta, it is also theta. So one component of friction is acting inward direction, that is F cos theta, and one component is acting in downward direction, that is F sin theta. So there are two components of friction. Let me highlight this thing here for this acting friction. If I try to represent the friction angularly in this direction, this one is F, so this one is F cos theta, and this one along the weight, it is F sin theta. You can use this diagram also to represent this one diagram to get the help. So total internal centripetal forces are r sin theta and F cos theta, and total centrifugal force is mv square upon r. For the safe turn, again, for the safe turn of the car, so this mv square upon r must be less than or equal to, because car should not turn out from the track, so mv square upon r should be less than or equal to r sin theta plus F cos theta, this one. Or you can write, instead of F, we know it very well, F is static friction. This is still a static friction. I am just represented by F. It is actually mu s into r. We know it very well, mu s into r. So you can replace this term. So r can be taken out. mv square is upon a small r less than or equal to, you can take a small r, capital R common, because it can be written as mu s into r. So r common, it would be sin theta plus mu s cos theta, this one. So this is the first equation, and the second is, because the body is not moving vertically up or downward direction, so r cos theta totally equal to F sin theta plus mg. R cos theta equals to mg plus F sin theta. Or you can again find out the value of r from this expression. How? You can write mu s r in this, and you can send this whole expression towards this one. So it would be r cos theta minus mu s r sin theta equals to mg. So you can find out the value of r. So r would be mg upon cos theta minus mu sin theta, cos theta minus mu s sin theta. This is supposed to be the value of capital R. Now we can put the value of capital R in this expression first. So from expression first and second, we can replace the value of R from this expression. So from equation first and second, we can write mv square upon small r is less than or equal to, instead of capital R, we can write mg and total upon cos theta minus mu s sin theta, cos theta minus mu s sin theta, and into the first expression, that was sin theta plus mu s cos theta, sin theta plus mu s cos theta. This is the expected outcome, but now let's simplify this complicated expression. So keep this thing in mind. This time the total centripetal forces are two, not one. One is the friction component, another is the weight component or reaction of the weight component, that is r sin theta. So this time the body will supposed to have greater centripetal force as compared to the previous derivation. That's why the body will supposed to have the greater safe velocity limit as compared to the previous derivation. Keep this thing in your mind. Now let's try to implement, as this lecture is being recorded, so you will be able to pause the video later on. Now to make this expression simple, what we are going to do, we will take out cos theta common from the upper term and as well as the lower term. So what will be the outcome? Mv square upon r is less than or equals to mg into cos theta upon cos theta, as we have taken out common cos theta. So what we will have, sin theta upon cos theta, because you are taking out cos theta common, so it will turn into tan theta, sin theta upon cos theta, so that will be the tan theta. So it will turn out into tan theta minus plus mu s only, because cos theta has been taken out as common, upon cos theta common, so 1 minus mu s, again it will become tan theta, so 1 minus mu s tan theta, this one, and cos theta to cos theta will get cancelled, m to m will get cancelled, so velocity must be less than or equal to, now you are getting the limit, velocity must be less than or equal to square root, because it is v square, rg, radius, into g, and tan theta plus mu s upon 1 minus mu s tan theta. This is the range of the safe velocity, means velocity must be less than or maximum equal to this expression. So if you want to write at v max, so you can simply place equals to rg tan theta plus mu s upon 1 minus mu s tan theta. This is the expected expression for maximum safe velocity on a curved banked road. Now keep this thing in mind. If I take the same example, the earlier one, that radius is of 10 meter and friction coefficient is of 0.7 for the cemented road. So this time, if I bank the road with the angle of 30 degree, with the angle of 30 means the road is banked towards the center of the turn by 30 degree. This time if you try to calculate the Vmax, you will get Vmax approximately 50 km per hour, which is 20 km per hour more than the previous velocity. Means this time only just by banking the road, you are not going to change the radius, you are not going to change the material of the road, only just by banking the road towards the center by 30 degree, you can turn the car with the higher velocity, 20 km higher, means 50 km per hour. So this is the purpose. That's why on the highways or expressways, if there is a turn or a curved road, they bank the turn or they bank the road towards the center by some angle to maintain your car's high velocity with a safe, we can say, turn.